Hello everyone, Chris Smith here. Make sure you tune in to Boxing Bros UK.
Hello everybody, I'm Boxing Bros UK here. I'm a Hister Boss Chris. To my co-host, Andrew the Boxing Brain. Topic of the day is Boxer and Ben Shalom. What the fuck is going on?
Radio silent. Anyone out there, Ed? Are you there? Calling Ben.
Where are you, mate? We're going to hear a few interviews about the situation, and these are from people in the game. These are receipts, not hearsay. Let's get into it. The first one, Azim, Hamza Shiraz.
Oh, yeah.
When can we see you next? Do we know?
Hopefully, fight news coming very soon, and a lot of people are asking about when I'm next.
Tell Ben to hurry up or you'll be with Frank soon. Tell Ben to hurry up or you'll be with Frank soon. Yeah, an awkward silence there, but
I'll never know, you might be right.
Yeah. And he's such a confident guy, isn't he? Dev Sani.
Dev Stanley Sani, yeah. But I like Sash Perez to get a little bit of shit out of it there. I love that.
Yeah.
And then the team went, well, yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah, so I think that's exactly how it is. I don't think it's genuinely he's leaving, but I think in his head he's thinking, do you know what, if we don't hurry up, maybe I will. Here's the next one. This is more detailed, how long it's been radio silence, what's going on from a straight talking guy, most of the time, unless it's Macaulay sparring stories, Billy Nelson.
Martin Macaulay. When can we expect him back out and been mad? I see him everywhere in the minute where he's wearing bowler hats. He just appears on the social media feed. Where are we at with Martin Macaulay?
Well, I've had no contact. I've had no contact from Boxer in 10 weeks now.
10 weeks.
Concern, and there's not been any returns of phone calls. I'm fairly disappointed with that, but hopefully he'll pick up the phone shortly and we can start discussing the next fight.
Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
So other than that, is he not answering his phone?
He's not answering his phone. Radio silent. Like I can imagine that Billy Nelson, he's an old guy. He's Scottish. I can imagine he is a fucking pest. You know, when you're trying to do something or sort something out and you don't quite know. I can imagine that he's constantly ringing Ben Shalom and texting him all the time. Is it when we get a date? Who are we doing? And Ben Shalom is doing that thing that we all do it, where you bury your head in the sand. If you are like people who've done it for you, owe someone money, or you're avoiding someone and you just ignore the texts and you just go into yourself. I think Ben Shalom, he's got nothing and he doesn't got anything to say.
But we've noticed this with Chris though. Like he avoided chatting to us. Well, we let, you know, it looked like, considering we were next in line to chat to us. And I was looking at him with a previous interview before we were kind of coming up, and he looked sort of frustrated. He was kind of talking to his team, and is it almost as if to say, how much longer have I got to go? And see, Frank Warren over there, he's been doing it for nearly 50 years, spending hours and hours if you take an interview.
Even though he only gives you 1 minute each, but he still does it from And if not to rub salt in the wound, to kick Ben Shalom in the balls while he's down, even worse. Sam Jones gave this interview on TalkSport that does blows everything wide open.
Joshua Watsy has revealed a promotional deal this week with Frank Warren's Queensbury Promotions.
Yeah.
Queensbury, of course, we're going to be at the Boxer. To go on to this subject with Boxer, where obviously the Sky Sports deal is over.
Yeah.
For Boxer, Ben Shalom's Boxer. And Boxer fighters are reportedly facing a period of uncertainty due to a lack of clear communication from the promoter about the promotion's future and its broadcast deals. So Adam Azim, very much a rising star in the lightweight division. Ben Whittaker, a rejuvenated light heavyweight, a star after tripping out of the ropes in Riyadh and controversy and the rematch with Liam Cameron. Great fun that was. Caroline Dubois. They're all reportedly unsure about their immediate futures.
Callum Simpson, Fraser Clark.
Exactly. Lauren Price. Fran Hennessy. All fighting under that Sky banner. And Boxer banner. If you were managing them now, what would you be advising them to do? Do we know where Boxer are heading towards?
I'd get out of there.
Are they going to another platform?
I'd get them out of there. Get them out of there. Because, listen, remember, I speak to a couple, I'm not going to name them, so I don't want to get them into trouble, but I speak to some of the fighters, and there's no transparency. There's no, like, it's radio silence. You can't do that. Communication is key. Communication is key. If there was communication, there'd be a different answer. But because of the non-communication, listen, we're off ski. We'll be going on our merry way.
Yeah.
Is that a worrying time for them though? When
No,
there's-
because they're all fighters that will get deals like that.
No,
So no,
Ben
it's
Shalom
not.
is it worried
In fact,
for?
it's an exciting time for them.
but what if they're under contract for a certain number of fights, and yet there's no broadcast deal? Does that annul that in
You can't you can't-
contract
you-
terms?
Yeah, listen, a lot of the fighters that you've mentioned there, from my belief, I'm not going to say 100% certain, but I believe that if they're not on Sky, it will make them free agents. But I'm not 100.
So they will have signed a deal. I know you're not 100%, but ostensibly, when you're looking at a managerial contract in that sense, or an agent contract,
Mhm.
you're normally signing with that promoter on that broadcaster.
I think no.
with
because-
that broadcaster.
Listen, Boxer were not a newish. I know they had their deal with the BT at the time. It was then BT. They were doing the prize fighter, the prize fighter type tournaments, and then they got their deal at Sky. Listen, Ben Shalom done a great job to get that contract. Listen, people bash him, and listen, I've had my dealings with Ben Shalom, but he's done a great job to get the Sky contract. But the reality is, the biggest selling point for a fighter to go to Ben Shalom was the fact that you're going to box on Sky Sports. You no longer can deliver that. So it looks like it's over.
Oh, it's over. Maybe that could be a title. Ben Shalom is basically, after hearing that, and I can imagine that's true, because why would someone like Eubank Jr., even Anthony Yard, I know he's gone back, Buatsi, that's why Buatsi signed to Sky Boxer in the first place, because he said, I don't want to fight on DAZN and that. Fighting on Sky Sports is an opportunity, you know. Sky Sports, they started pay-per-view boxing in the UK. It's a massive platform. It's big on boxing. So that's why he went there. And I believe a lot of other fighters would have done what Sam Jones said and signed with Boxer on the guarantee that they're going to be fighting on Sky shows and Sky pay-per-view cards. And now we can't provide that. I think that's why Ben Shalom's got into himself. But I've got some questions for you.
Yeah, go for it.
Who's next to go? What fighter's next to go? And where will they go? Matchroom, Queensbury, Bob Aaron, PBC, Mick Hennessy.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the thing is, if Ben Shalom doesn't get his finger out his arse too, but because he's clearly not communicating with them and burying his head in his sand like an ostrich, you just can't do that. It's unacceptable. I think the next one, I'm just speculating, but you've got two big stars, really. I think for me, you've obviously got Eubank Jr. towards the end of his career, but Eubank Jr. could hypothetically be one, because Eubank Jr. only wants massive fights and big paydays now. He's not getting any younger. Wants to maybe do the Ben route. He's not going to hang around. He's a bit of a mercenary. We know that. So he could be out the door. Adam Azim and Ben Whittaker are probably the two big stars of that. But Watson's already out the door. And you know what it's like? When there's a mutiny in a workplace or a company because of ill feeling, once one big like Watson's quite a big stop, once one goes out the door, Chris, a few others start to think, but he's onto something here. Oh, perhaps I better leave it. Well, between Eubank Jr., Whittaker and Azim, I think for me that would be the if the bookies were to put a bet on it, Fraser Clark would probably stay.
If we think about it, Fraser Clark, he's like Joe. He's like a pound shop Joe Joyce. Came out of the amateurs very, very late. Tried to fast track his career, and it's just not going right. It's going his career. At least Joe Joyce at one point, we was all thinking that he could be world champion, and he had a mandatory shot. Fraser Clark is nowhere near there, and he's like 36 or something.
And to add that, to give the argument a little bit more credence, Spencer Oliver, who seems to have a group WhatsApp chat with everybody, AJ, Bellew, Veen. I don't know if you saw this as well, we might have done. And Simon Jordan afterwards said, what's Azim Azim said he spoke to? He went, yeah, it's like, he went, what did he say? He went, he doesn't know. He hasn't heard from him. He doesn't know what's going on. He's frustrated. He's fought O'Hara David and Nipponic at, the end of last year, the start of this year. And he's had nothing. Wouldn't have happened under Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren in their prime. Remember when Eddie Hearn burst onto the block? Full of energy, would never have happened. Ben Shalom, new to the game. He's got about as much energy as my 95-year-old grandma.
Have you got any sympathy for Ben Shalom, or do you think that he brought this all on himself the way he does business? Because he has been ganged up on. I'm playing devil's advocate for once. He has been ganged up on by Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, pushing him off the stage, not letting him be able to be on there with his fighters, blah, blah, blah. But he has been a bit of a prick in negotiations. Fucked up with that contract with Liam Cameron. Then he tried to go back on it. He pulled his fighters out of purse bids all the time. He'll make an offer, and if it's not accepted, he'll pull out the purse bid, but he won't accept offers from other promoters like Frank Warren and Matchroom. That's for more money than he's offered. It's like he's trying to be selfish and keep everything in-house and build at the same time. You can't do that in boxing, especially now, how it is with everyone with Riyadh season making all the good fights. It was on one Riyadh show, and I'm guessing his petulant childishness made it so that they don't really want him to come back. I don't know. That's just a theory of mine. What do you think?
To be fair, it's a great
got sympathy on that.
I can see what you're doing because you know I like to have a good rant to get, and it's. But I'm gonna be as objective as possible because I do like to sort of, go off on a tangent a little bit. Yeah, I do think he's been a young businessman, a young promoter with two dragons of the industry, and Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren have got a good relationship now. Barry Hearn and Matt Broom's an established business. They do all sorts of sports. Queensbury's massive. They basically, outside of Usyk, own the heavyweight division, don't they?
Yeah.
Always signing fighters. They're the number one promoter in the world for me, Queensbury. And then you got Eddie Hearn struggled a bit, but they're collaborating a lot more. Seem to be working together. All the three of them, Turki Al-Sheikh, the sports minister of Saudi, obviously, and getting on the DAZN platform, they're all working together. Don't forget, Chris, Frank Warren tried doing this to Eddie Hearn when Eddie Hearn first. And Eddie Hearn stuck around, planted his feet, to use a box analogy, in the centre ring. I thought, all right, let's have a fight. Let's go for it. And it stood the test of time. So even though I do have sympathy, because it must be difficult. If you're going into the workplace, we've all been there, with maybe people you don't like your boss, it does play on your mind a little bit. But you got to be a bit tougher than that. I mean, boxing's a brutal world, and if you're being paid a lot of money, he's got to have a bit more balls about him. He does seem to struggle on the personality front, which isn't his fault. I don't think he's very engaging. He doesn't come across well. Even Turki Al-Sheikh seems to go to him. From you, Ben, in the Eubank build-up.
Yeah.
Ben, anything to say? In answer to your question, I do understand it must be very difficult, but you're trying to get in between the two massive promotional teams of Matchroom and Queensbury, and you've surely got to be a bit tougher than that, Chris, haven't you?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, because you've got to have thick skin in this game, and you've got to be tough, man. Frank Warren was slating Eddie Hearn at every turn, but he did work with him when he had to, or he bought purse bids, or he let his fighters fight on other shows, Or if he pulled him out of a purse bid, he gave him a good fight. Look at Caballero, pulled him out of a purse bid because he thought, I'm not getting my heavyweights to fight Bacoli just in case. I'm keeping everything in the house. But Ben Shalom's trying to do that, but he ain't got the stable for it. And he ain't got the power. Frank Warren can do that. And you can't make power plays when you ain't the king yet. You got to be the walk through crawl. So I do kind of think he brought it on himself. I've got a little bit of sympathy for him, but not brought on himself. Next question. After all this, and he breaks his radio silence, how many fighters do you think are going to stay and going to be happy if the deal that the network he gets is BBC? Not Sky, not Sky, not DAZN, not TNT Sports, but it's BBC, iPlayer. What do you think? Do you think that's going to be a good move? Do you think they'll win?
The problem is with another brilliant question. I was hoping to bring this up, actually. The problem is with the BBC platform, and it's not that we haven't seen it on those types of platforms before, and Dave and Channel 5 and ITV3. The thing is, the BBC aren't going to pay nearly the same amount that Sky are. That was a massive deal for Sky, or certainly a significant deal. They're going to be tight on advertising and things like that. Also the watershed. Are they going to be playing? Are they going to be having fights on before 10, 9:30? I don't know. I'm just speculating these things. I think there's going to be a bit of an issue with BBC in terms of a showcase for the types of fighters he's got, right? Because you think, right, I'm not talking about the big fight line, was there, back in the maybe it's a bit
bringing back it.
Yeah, you look at Channel 5, it's normal. I know Josh Kelly went up there for a little while, Tyson Fury, I think, early in his career. But these are kind of prospects that are just on terrestrial TV. You've got stars like Ben Whittaker, who's a big star. Eubank Jr. is an established star. You're people like Lauren Price, you know, big advocates of female boxing. I know they've
Caroline Dubois.
You know, are they going to get? How are they going to pay these fighters on a platform that's not going to bring in nearly as much money as what the Sky platform's going to bring? Surely, Chris, maybe it's not as easy as this. Surely he's got to work towards a fight-by-fight basis with DAZN, like what something like Eddie Earn does. I think he does a similar sort of thing. Surely he's got to get together with Turkey Ellis going, look, I've got Eubank Jr., Whittaker, Fraser, I've got big stars. Can we work something out on DAZN? Why isn't he doing? Perhaps you could help me out here, Chris, because this is where I'm a bit. Why isn't he look towards a BBCI player?
God knows. I cannot understand a BBCI player video. You're completely right, Andrew. It's gonna, even if it's successful, it's a platform like Channel 5, where like Eubank Jr., Tyson Fury, many others. You fight on Channel 5. Josh Taylor, you fight on Channel 5 for a few fights for free for everyone to watch, get the exposure, normally show Commonwealth titles, British titles, things like that, English titles, but never are there massive world title fights, very rarely on Channel 5, unless they're people that no one cares about. Never ever. So he's not going to progress. And what I can't understand is, you know, GBM, that Asian guy, Asif, Northern firm, they've got a deal with DAZN. All their fights that are on DAZN, they're all on DAZN. How can a small firm like that, who's their biggest name? And you think all their fighters are all British level. Well, and the only world title fighters they have are like women, I think. Can't think to hand what big names they've got. And they're on DAZN. So why is Ben Shalom not able? Is he being so petty and pig-headed that I want to make my own thing? I had Sky. I don't want to go on DAZN because I want to be better than Frank Warren. I want to go, and and that's what he's thinking. Is he thinks that he can make BBC iPlayer like the new Sky Sports or something.
That would be my counter question for you, Chris, as well. Though would be, is there? We don't know because we're just part of this is speculation.
Yeah.
Put this video out there in the comments, YouTube, and speculate with us. Has he maybe fallen out with Turkey Ellis? No brainer. That you would do a deal with that. It's all going over. The zone's becoming the platform for combat sports.
Yeah.
And particularly boxing. Misfit, crossover stuff, you know, Jake Paul, right? All this stuff. Why would you've just had a deal with Sky Sports, you built up, you've become the third biggest, well, probably alongside Maxwell, I'd probably say.
Yeah.
Built that momentum. Going up against Queensbury, all right, you've lost the Sky Sports went in a different direction. And then your first move is to potentially try and do something with
iPlayer,
the British broadcaster, where you're going to get nowhere near the sort of money. How are you going to make a return? This doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. And fair play to Ben Shalom. We've got to give him his props. In Britain, he has been, and his cards, he's been a better promoter than Eddie Hearn. In Britain, let's say.
Last few years, probably.
Eddie Hearn globally.
He's over in America.
Yeah, Eddie Hearn globally smashing it. It's Matchroom. Yeah. But if you just concentrate on domestic cards, Ben Shalom and Frank Warren. Frank Warren's the boss, and then Ben Shalom second, Matchroom third, and then like Sauerlands, then Mick Hennessy after that. But and now after like you say, after all that build up and that, he's going to go to BBC. Like, why can't he get on DAZN? What's the issue with that? He should be on there if GBM can be on there.
Watch this space. Something might come out. Well, I've got a feeling something might come out where Turkey releases something and he hasn't reached out to me. Like the same thing. I don't know. He won't answer the phone or something.
Radio silence. Just weird, man.
I predict what will happen, Chris.
Final question before we come to a close. Do you believe that boxer are going to be like Mick Hennessy, where that was their Sky Sports was their prime, the height of the thing, and then in years to come, boxer are never ever going to have any major profile fights on TV ever again, and they're just going to fade out like Mick Hennessy. Mick Hennessy barely has fighters on Channel 5 these days. He has to collab to go on Channel 5. He's not running Channel 5 and teetering on Sky Sports with like he did with Fury. He's just gone into obscurity, and you ask a 20-year-old who watches boxing who Mick Hennessy is, they won't fucking know who he is. I think they're going to end up like that.
It's another really good question. Because I think you look at sort of, I think if they proceed with BBC iPlayer, I think he and Boxer will fade into obscurity. Yeah.
You do think? I think so too. I think 2 or 3 years, like BBC iPlayer thing will fizzle out, won't go nowhere, just like when Eubank tried to set something up with ITV and start a new thing. It's not going to work. And I just think we're going to be talking about Ben Shalom like we do about Mick Hennessy. We ain't going to see Ben Shalom fight with fighters and a big dealer in pay-per-view cards, big fights on TV again, ever again. He's just going to be, he's going to be done.
It's a shame because I think there was something there.
Yeah.
I think Ben Shalom had something going there. He had some good fighters, decent roster, was building nicely, had some good nights. Yeah. You know, there's some fighters on there as well, like React for what's going on with him. No one cares. Chris Billham-Smith, end of his career. Eubank Jr. probably got 2 fights left. You know, then there was the whole Savannah Marshall thing. There was complications there.
Yeah.
You know, I think Boatsi leaving. Ben Whittaker's notoriously comes across a bit impatient. Adam has
he's going to be hard work. He's going to go. He'll be gone.
Yeah, because Ben Whittaker believes his own hype.
I can see Ben Whittaker. He'll probably go to Matchroom because obviously all the drama with Liam Cameron. I think he'll feel I've got more love at Matchroom. There's no love at Queensbury, you know, and things that people said about him.
Eddie Hearn, like, you imagine Eddie Hearn, his eyes would light up like, oh.
He'd be fucking polishing his end every day, mate. He would.
Yeah, just think of all the big British fight, you know, Yar, Boatsi, if they can all obviously.
Yeah.
But if Boatsi's at Queensbury,
yeah,
then Whittaker goes to Matchroom, the relationship they're at in Turkey on the sheet, bang, is a few 4 million. Let's get it on.
Please tell us your thoughts. We really want to know.